ಈಗ ಇಂದಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಗೌರವಾನ್ವಿತ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಶೋಕ್ ದಳವಾಯಿ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಉದ್ದೇಶಿಸಿ ಮಾತನಾಡಬೇಕೆಂದು ವಿನಂತಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ.
Yeah, so let's have some silent moments. The president of the Road 2022 event and my young friend, the respected Vice Chancellor, Dr. Manjunath Naik, my fellow colleagues on the dais, Dr. Jagdish, Dr. Lokesh, younger friends Vasant Reddy, Ramesh, Nagaraj, and all the alumni of this great university, Kerala Shivappa Nayak University of Agriculture and Horticulture Sciences, all the alumni who have joined here physically and those who are online, the young students of this university, boys and girls, all the respected professors of this university, and friends from media. Once again, good afternoon to all of you. It's my privilege to be here today. And we are all assembled here at the invitation of the Alumni Association of this university. So I would like to first thank them. And today we have heard to what this project is, NAHAT project is, and what it would be doing to strengthen the alumni associations across the country. Dr. Ramaswamy has shared his thoughts with us. It was a good learning to me also. And many times we take alumni association very casually. This is what I did in my life. Only recently I started taking more interest in the alumni association of my school. I studied at Science School Bijapur, whose motto is Ajit hai, Abhi hai. Ajit, unconquerable. Abhi, fearless. So this motto of the Science School Bijapur, it comes from Gurbani as a testimony to the plurality of India's culture. Our first principal was Venkamartha K.D. Singh, a Sardarji from Punjab, and it is he who gave this motto. And all the students and alumni of Science School Bijapur are called Ajits, invincible, unconquerable. We too have had our association for a long time. It was called as Old Boys Association. Then in 92 we transformed that as Ajit's Alumni Association, AAA. And incidentally, for your information, even the Old Boys Association for school, it took its birth in the College of Agriculture, Dharwad, when we were students. So agriculture universities have had something to do to contribute to the Ajit Alumni Association. When I got myself involved along with a few of my friends, then it occurred to me that there is so much that can be done positively, constructively. So today when I talk to you, the alumni of Agriculture University, I would like to recite to you one of the assembly prayers that we used to hear at our school regularly. And that was the prayer written by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. Like Kuvempu, who hails from Shivamoga, Rabindranath Tagore also believed in the concept of Vishwamana, global citizen. So Kuvempu and Rabindranath Tagore, Kuvempu and Gurudev stand on the same platform. So let me start my talk to you with Tagore's few words. The prayer goes like this: where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments. Very important, please note that. Where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. And the last 4 lines. Where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom. My Father, let my country awake. Just imagine, within these few sentences, Rabindranath Tagore has packed the entire philosophy of human existence on this earth. And the earth not fragmented by taluk, district, state, nation, by race, religion, caste, creed, color. One humanity. So what do you think in this context we can do? Now when I say we, I also consider myself as a member of your alumni. Thank you. So how do you think our country, or for that matter any other country, awaken itself into that heaven of freedom which great people like Kuvempu and Rabindranath Tagore thought of? Mahatma Gandhi once said, he was invited by the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce, FICCI, New Delhi in 1931, April 1931. So Mahatma Gandhi told all those industrialists who had gathered there at that point of time that I would like you to consider yourselves as the custodians of wealth and servants of the poor. Look at these words: custodians of wealth and servants of the poor. So Gandhiji believed in what is called the concept of trusteeship. Whether you are a wealthy industrialist or a powerful bureaucrat or a powerful politician in whose authority is vested by the Constitution, they all are supposed to think themselves as trustees. That means this power belongs to the people. The purpose of sharing this with you is, we alumni also need to think likewise as custodians of this Mother Earth and its natural resources for the good of the society. There is a very close relationship between the agricultural alumni and Mother Earth. We have something to do directly with the natural resources. Hence, we alumni need to think ourselves as the custodians of Mother Earth with all its natural resources and save that for generations to come. So how do you think that associations of alumni can do something? The topic given to me is very well designed, I must say, by the people who gave this topic to me. It is talking about connecting alumni and the current students for the purpose of development. So we have here current students, alumni, and we have the development as its purpose. One thing that young students particularly, and of course alumni, must remember, whenever we think of alumni associations, in the context of development, we talk about money. That an alumni association is primarily meant to get together once a year, have fun, eat, dance, drink, get the families, introduce one another, and then go back. It was more a distressing activity. But then when we really look at development, it need not be money alone. We are all not rich, some of us could be. We are not all wealthy, some of us could be. Then do you think if we are not wealthy, if we are not rich, then we cannot do anything as members of the Alumni Association? That is the fundamental question. The first thing, therefore, is to break away from that mindset of money or fundraising. Not that it's not important, it is, but then we should not get constrained by that mindset, conventional mindset of money. We, having been educated at college and university, here and abroad, we are a pool of knowledge. And when we talk of the word university, universe, we are talking of universe, not of Shimoga, not of Shikaripur. We are talking of universe. And remember that there is not one universe, there are many universes. Minimum is for us to think of one universe. And this universe itself is made of many galaxies, billions of galaxies, and those galaxies are in billions of universes. So there is limitlessness. At least let us talk of our own universe, or minimum let us talk of our own planet. When we talk of our own planet, and we, the human beings, because human being is supposed to be the microcosm of this universe. All that happens in the universe happens within the human being also. So we as alumni and as human beings, we need to look at development in the context of moral, ethical, intellectual knowledge constructs. Ethical, moral, intellectual and knowledge constructs. And these constructs, these parameters are all available to us as alumni. It is not difficult to enrich ourselves morally, not difficult to enrich ourselves ethically, not difficult for us to continuously enrich our knowledge. And if we can continuously focus on acquiring these qualities, even if we do not have money, we will be able to make foundational, transformational contributions as alumni. This is the first thing that I would like all of you to remember. The students here, please remember, you are the would-be alumni. Today you are a current student. 1 year hence, 2 years hence, or a few years hence, you will also be alumni of this particular university. So what I say applies to you as much as to the alumni sitting here. So the second point that I would like you to remember is that who are the stakeholders in this framework of development? The three stakeholders are the current students, the alumni, and the institution. That means the university. These are the three stakeholders in this are concerned of these two people, the Alumni Association and the university management led by this and make healthy contributions as Alumni Association. The university, they play a very important role in contributing to building their universities and the society. I think is, as happens in Western society, the alumni stage and during the active life of the students at the university involves these four stages. So the alumni association, as happens in Western society, can actually take up the responsibility of guiding students of high schools and the pre-university colleges in our state and coach them, mentor them from the perspective of future education, career guidance, and teach them about the scope about agricultural sciences. And once you have been admitted into the agricultural university, when I say agriculture, it includes all agricultural sciences, including animal husbandry, horticulture, forestry, etc. Once the admission happens, what the students really require is a hand-holding. So can the Alumni Association make some of themselves who are active and who have got time as coaches, as mentors, who along with the and also develop a strong personality, because personality is not just academics, it's not just information. As you know now, in the new education policy, the advice to students and the teachers is not to stuff with information, not just knowledge-centric. Today, the curriculum is supposed to be built on what is called creativity, collaboration, communication. So these are the new C's that we are talking about. And if we want to do that, we need to have a flexible approach. That means the students will need to be provided an opportunity to learn not just agronomy, not in the government framework, there are a lot of restrictions. You can spend money on X, but you cannot spend on Y. But at the ground level, you may require money on Y. That flexi fund can come from Alumni Association. As Liebig's law says, you all learned in chemistry. Liebig's law says, the strength of the chain is as strong as the weakest link. If there are 10 links, one link is very weak, the strength of those 10 links together for a chain will be equivalent to the strength of the weakest link. That is the Liebig's law of the Lehman. So therefore, even in spending money, allocation of money by the Vice Chancellor on research and development projects, many a time hits the roadblock because there is no money for the flexi funding. So can Alumni Association, Endowment Fund, Corpus Fund come for those kind of activities? Or the VC decides to send his students to a particular country. Yes, NAHAC is there, number 4, NAHAC is not going to be there. Where does he get that money? So this kind of activity, where there is no allocated sum of money, can come from this endowment money that the associations can actually build. So there are so many things that the association can do during the current life of the students, using his knowledge, experience, wisdom, using his moral authority, ethical power, and the financial power. I am stressing again and again on the ethical and moral power. The reason is that when you start associating yourself with university professors and students, there can be complex cases that come up. One may be called to question your morality and ethics. Hence, you need to be very strong morally and ethically to see that the relationship between the student and the association is honest, transparent, and healthy. So that is extremely important. And as the students get ready to move out of the portals of this college and university They are actually stepping out from a secure world into an uncertain world. Now, does the university ensure that you lead a good life outside? That is left to you. The university professors have trained you, oriented you, sensitized you, given you a corpus of knowledge. But 21st century, let me tell you, is going to be very, very different. It's going to be very, very different because that what is called a free will that we all think is there now may not be a free will tomorrow. With the information technology revolution that's happening, with the behavioral science transformation that are happening, with the greater understanding of the neuroscience that we have understood now, possibly man may become a servant of robotics. Possibly in the next 20, 30 years. And at that point of time, you may not be able to decide as much as you think you are deciding today. Therefore, the Alumni Association can actually start sensitizing you towards the changes that are happening outside. However intelligent you are, you may still not know what's happening in the outside world. Many of us who spend a lifetime may still not know what's really happening on the other side of the boundary. So the purpose of an association and engaging itself with the students as they get ready to move out of the college or the university is to help them realize the complexity of the world outside. And many universities abroad spend a large number of days to actually train, orient and sensitize the students passing out. There is one university which spends at least 7 days on the campus as the students are getting ready to move out. And they perform what is called a ring ceremony. Not where boys and girls exchange rings, but where the association and the would-be alumni exchange rings. The Alumni Association gives them a ring with a insignia. There is a ceremony where the students passing out wear that ring and say, now I become the member of your prestigious Alumni Association. And then onwards, that student or alumnus who is going to be now alumnus, who is now confident that I have somebody to rely upon as I move out. I can depend upon the association, I can depend upon my coach who has been assigned to me, or the mentor who has been assigned to me, and I can go to him or her for the problems that I may have in my real life till I actually learn to swim properly. So there is so much that the association can do with little money. And now, it's not important that we do only for ourselves. The common sense is that always the Alumni Association think that we get together and at best we think of our students, our members, our university. But it is something that we need to go outside. I read out to you Rabindranath Tagore's prayer, and we said that it's not enough that we do something for our individual interests, something for our collective interest. We need to go beyond this and think of the society. And there are very bright examples. You have all heard of Shramdan, where you give a Shram as a Dan, right? You are gifting your own Shram, Karm as your Dan. But as people educated, you can use Shramdan and also Buddhi-Dan, your intellect, your mind, your knowledge, which the society requires today. It need not be actually working with hands. So Buddhi-Dan and Shramdan can become an asset. Where you don't need much of a money. And many universities, for example, in the world, they have what is called a neighborhood association. That means the Alumni Association comes to the university, stays there for a few days, or at least a day or two, takes the help of the Students' Association, and then they take up repairing of the houses, improving the houses of the neighborhood. That means there could be people who are poor, not able to repair, or there are old people. Today there is so much atomization. The children are not staying with parents. The old mother and father are left alone. They don't know how to do plumbing, how to do an electrical fitting. So can you take up those kind of activities around the campus? Or there is a slum, for example. Or there is a water tank. There is a school building. There is a health center. Can you just go and do color washing, white washing? Can you do minor repairs? These are all very little things where you need little money, but the entire labor comes from Students Association and from the Alumni Association. So this is how we build a rich culture for our university. Our university then does not become an island which is bounded by big boundary walls. It becomes part of the society. It becomes concerned with the society. And the members of the society begin to look up to the university as their friend, their philosopher, their guide. And as students of Agriculture University, as alumni of Agriculture University, as I said, you can go beyond Shramdaan and do Kudila. I'm giving some of these examples from my own experience. In the district, whenever I have worked, for example, our Officers Association was asked to go every Sunday and do whitewashing of the hospital, to do whitewashing of the Anganwadi center, to join the youth and start digging the tank, build a small tank for the pond, and then combine that with the money under Narega or old scheme that we had at that point of time. So the convergence can happen provided we have this dream. But as I was saying, since we are all imbibed with knowledge of agricultural sciences, we can actually contribute that knowledge. Go to the farmers, adopt their village, and tell them what is the new practice that you need to adopt, new variety, new agronomic practice, new horticultural harvesting practice, how to operate a pack house, how to do the harvesting of mango at the right time, for example. So there's so much that we have with us, and can we customize that knowledge, practical guidelines, operational guidelines for the villages that we adopt, and build that technology bridge with the farmers and the villages. Or the Swachh Bharat that the government is talking about. How can we go and tell them construction of a toilet is one thing, but using that toilet is more important. How do we make them to use the toilet, keep that clean, for example? So there are small and big things that the Alumni Association, by building bridges with the young boys and girls here, can actually become strong, service-oriented citizens of this country. So this is what I think we should be really doing. And of course there are many people, after they become 58, 60, 62, they retire from their active job, but health is still good, they want to do something, but they are not finding opportunity. Once we are without work, we start shriveling. We find ourselves empty. We don't know what to do in future, but still 10 years, 20 years of life is left. So how do the Alumni Association members find themselves actively associated with the university, find a purpose in life? In this connection, I would like you all to read a book called Ikigai. It is about the long and healthy life of Japanese people. Based on research, they have found that in particular regions of Japan, the people are living for 100 years, 105 years, 110 years. You don't have to be a sannyasi, a mullah, or some pandit to live for 105, 110, 120 years. But biologically, today, the scientists tell us that the potential is 135 years. We can live up to 135 years. And still the average age at birth is only 72 years in India. That means we still have not harvested half the lifetime. So our association members who are going to live up to 80, 85 minimum, how do they spend 20 years? And that particular research in Japan tells us that the secret to long life is having a purpose in life. You must have a purpose in life. That purpose can be simply going and teaching somebody. The purpose can be simply going and cleaning a street. The purpose can be simply going and taking care of a child, for example. So our association members can develop this purpose of saying, I belong to this university and these students are mine. I shall help the university. I shall help the students by contributing whatever I have. They can come and teach here, come and conduct a sports for the students. You can teach them music. You can teach them how to debate, for example. There is so much that you can do. There is the limitless possibility of active engagement, finding a purpose in our own life at our own age, and simultaneously helping these young boys and girls
to live for next 80 years. So this is how an association can become truly active and not just on the paper. And let me give you now experience of how our association, for example, of the science school, has begun to reactivate itself. I told you that we were also on paper for 30 years. We were meeting once a year, having fun. Of course, we also did little things. For example, constructing something at the school, or repairing the cots for the dormitories, or giving scholarships to the poor students. It was all there, but it was not structured. So now we are saying we would like to institutionalize our Ajit Alumni Association. That means first is have a new statute which will meet the contemporary and the future requirements. And the vision of our association is to become one of the top 25 alumni associations of the world. That is the vision. You go to our website and you see very, very clearly written there. Our aim is to make our Ajit Alumni Association one among the top 25 alumni associations of the world. We must have a good vision. So what vision should we now have for this agricultural association? It's not enough to have a vision. You need to have a mission. Missionary Z. Then you need to have goals and objectives. So you need to translate at different levels from vision to mission to goals and objectives and action plan. So that's what the association is supposed to do. And as a part of that institutionalization, to give you a concrete example as to how alumni can contribute. Now here under NAHAB, you built this website for the university and also gave a window to the alumni. Very good, that's a great thing you have ever done. Congratulations. What we did was, we got hold of our alumni who are into the IT world, who are already experts, who have a lot of knowledge, and told them, you build our website. Within 4 months, an Ajit website has been built. The money spent is 1 lakh. Everything else came free. If we had hired somebody, we would have had to spend at least 60 lakh. We told these young boys, and some of them, of course, older boys who were at the level of vice president and so in Infosys, etc., that you use your knowledge and build a website. And maintenance of website for the next 2 years, we said, you take the responsibility. How to fill the content, how to maintain different pages, web pages, how to make it live. So this is one example, concrete example, I would like to share with you, that if the alumni want to do, they can do it. Second, we have started what is called an Ajit Knowledge Forum. Ajit Knowledge Forum is the idea that some of us borrowed from the group discussion that was there at Agriculture College, Dharwad. Your Vice Chancellor and many of the people are sitting here, they were meeting at the university. Every Friday we used to have a group discussion at 5:30 p.m. We did not wait for any teacher. We did not wait for any student. There was a room fixed. The topic was given 15 days in advance. Anybody can come, anybody can speak in any language. Kannada, English, Hindi, whatever you want to speak. And that's how students started going to libraries, reading magazines, reading the India Yearbook, Competition Success Review, and that's how agriculture universities started contributing students to the civil services, forest services, defense services. And that idea came from what is called a democracy corner in London's Hayden Park. If you go to London, like our Kabul Park in Bangalore, there's a huge park in the center. There's one stone boulder where any citizen wants to speak out, he is allowed to speak. He can criticize the government, he can criticize somebody else, he wants to suggest something, he is free to do it. So that means we give an opportunity for people to ventilate themselves. So likewise here we have started what's called Ajit Knowledge Forum, which means online every second Saturday of the second month at 6 p.m. sharp. We won't wait. 6 p.m. we will start at 6 p.m. And we invite people who are well known, who are opinion makers, intellectuals, who are influencers of the society, and they come and speak. We had, for example, Sham Benegal come and speak to us. You know, some of you have heard of Sham Benegal? Sham Benegal, one of the father of the parallel cinema of India, one of the greatest filmmakers of India or the world. He came and spoke to us, and he was interviewed by none other than Suresh Shandikar, another intellectual giant of Kannada films, an environmentalist. And then we had somebody called Dr. Mashelkar, the Director General of CSIR formerly. At 84 years, he's still active. He's building so many enterprises, startups, and promoting youngsters. When you listen to people like them, you get motivated, inspired. And we want. Now tomorrow we are going to have astronaut group captain Rakesh Sharma speak to us on the 9th of April 2022. So imagine the kind of people who are coming to speak. So association here can start having its own knowledge forum and invite people in agriculture, wisdom, kind of related issues, come and speak. And today, given the fact that we're all online connected, there's no need for physical meeting. It all happens online. And the third one, which we have now initiated, was called Ajit Entrepreneur Forum. As Nagaraj was saying, we cannot get for jobs. India has adopted now a mixed economy. We have a government sector, we have a private sector. A large number of industries today are denationalized. Even banks are getting denationalized. Therefore, the jobs have to be created in the private sector. Who will create jobs in the private sector? It is you who have to create it. As Honorable Prime Minister has been saying, don't seek job, create a job. And therefore you have Stand Up India, Startup India, so many initiatives are there. So can we now are thinking, we started the work, Achieve Entrepreneurs Forum, which means that there are already entrepreneurs, like Nagaraj himself is one. So he builds an incubation center, or in incubation center, the university is here. How do you mobilize, motivate, guide the young students who have just passed out to become entrepreneurs? They may require financial support, they may require support in building a project report, they may require connection with the bankers, with government agencies. All this facilitation, this alumni association can do. So there is so much that can be done today by the alumni association. This is what I would like to tell you. And there are already successful examples in India and outside India. Outside India, I'll give you one concrete example. You need to learn all these things. Africa, for example, did not have good associations. They did not have good alumni associations. But in sub-Saharan Africa, the demand for medical education was increasing. So they were trying to set up what are called medical training institutions. But they were not able to manage those things because there's not much of funding. So the United States International Development Agency is very popular, as you know, IDA of the United States. They took up the experiment of training the students, ex-students of various universities in Sub-Sahara and building their associations, helping them to write guidelines, statutes, building a vision, mission, and then mobilizing funds. And they built a particular project called SHOPS that was strengthening of the health outcomes. And then they brought this alumni association to bridge these medical institutions, private medical institutions, and this new project that USIDA started. And they were able to build medical colleges. They were able to build capacities of the doctors and sisters and other medical staff. So that is how this Sub-Saharan Africa is today booming with the alumni association. And then they were able to establish cross-cultural relationships. That means they went to Europe and said, now Africa and Europe will become one through alumni association. Just imagine, there's no limit to what we're thinking. Who studied with me, they were all my juniors at the university. But then it was such a homecoming. The brothers speaking out your time. That is the beauty of any residential campus like Agricultural University. So let us continue to build this kind of harmony, that kind of camaraderie, that kind of blood relationship among ourselves, and be one
for the university, for ourselves, our future students, and the country and the globe at large. Thank you very much.